Welcome back to the Rouges and Yanks, where we talk everything Canada soccer and US soccer. Today's video will be a little bit different than the rest, as we'll be reacting to a roster from the Canadians men's national team, and this is what I call roster reaction videos. So in these types of videos, what I'm going to do is you're going to see me react to preliminary or finalized rosters from both the Canadian and the American national teams for both men's and women. So that goes for, you'll see a women's too in the Olympics, and as well as the Canadian, for both Canadian and U.S. women's for their Olympic finalized rosters. And so, but today is all about the Canadian men's Gold Cup preliminary roster. And so what I'm going to be doing to you guys is I'm going to be reading off a list of the names that the Canadian Soccer Association has published, and for this, and as well as the national team for this call-up. And I'm basically going to read off a list of names and basically react to them on the spot. Basically, you might see my initial reaction, like I might be pleased, or I might not even be, or not pleased, depending on which name it's called. And quick disclaimer, apologize in advance if I butcher any of the names or mispronounce any of the names on this list. Canadian, I think there's about 60 names on this list, and some of them you very well could realize or recognize, and some of them you may never hear before. So that's the fun of these, right? We get to see who we've seen before and who we haven't seen before, that we kind of knew that we didn't have. And so I'm going to go ahead and start it off. And once again, I apologize in advance for any names I butcher. We have Tesho Akindele, Ayo Akinola, which is a question mark, and I'll talk more about Ayo Akinola too. And also, before I continue in this video, what I do is after I read this list of names, I'm going to talk about certain players that maybe stand out, or something I want to talk about, right? That may caught my attention or may not. And so we have Scott Arfield, going back to the list, Scott Arfield, Thelonious Bear, once again I apologize, Michael Bladissimo, Zoran Basong, Clement Bahia, Zachary Brugyard, Charles Brim, Tajon Buchanan, Lucas Cavallini, Jay Chapman, Matthew Connier, Theodore Corbeanu, Derek Cornelius, Maxime Crepeau, Jonathan David, Alfonso Davies, Caniga Elva, Stefan Estacio, Ricardo Ferreira, Marcelo Flores, Leon Frazier, Marcus Godinho, Christian Gutierrez, Thomas Halsall. Go to the next page here. Daniel Henry, Junior Hoylett, Atiba Hutchinson, Daniel Jebson, All-Star Johnson, Mark Anthony Kay, Scott Kennedy, Kyle Laren, Richie Larea, Jason Litwiller, Jacqueline Marshall Rudy, Leon Miller, Kamal Miller, Ashton Morgan, Jaden Nelson, Noble Akello, Jonathan Osorio, James Pentamus, Pusher Tyler, Harrison Patton, Samuel Piet, Ralph Priso, Ryan Raposo, Tushan Ricketts, Jacob Schaffelberg, Luke Singh, Dane St. Clair, Frank Sturring, Russell Tybert, Christopher Twadek, Jules Villisaint, Stephen Victoria, Joel Waterman, and David Waterspoon. Now, those were the 60 call-ups to the Canadian men's national team that I just read off. But one name on that list that really stood out to me is Ayo Akinola. Ayo Akinola, he's a dual national. He's eligible to play for both the United States and Canada, as he was born in Detroit but raised in Toronto. And so I think he's made his decision, or I don't know if he's made his decision yet to play for Canada or the U.S., but Canada has called him up into the preliminary roster. But he hasn't committed yet, nor accepted the offer, or said he's out. He hasn't said he's open to play yet. So it's really interesting to see what he's thinking about, right? I think last time they checked on him, they said give him time, right? And he's still thinking about his decision. And so if he is called into this lineup for Canada, this will be huge, and definitely a player I want to see. And honestly, for me, my opinion, I'd rather see him for the Canadian national team, as I think for the Canada he'll get more playing time rather than the U.S. Because the USA, they're getting all this talent, right, and all these explosion of players. While Canada's too. Canada's getting some, but definitely not as much as the U.S. So I say he would get. I would rather see him play for Canada to get more playing time, right? Kind of get in the mix, right? And he's a striker, and so that has more number 9 options, or just more in general available options up top. And but yeah, that was the one player that stand out for me. But overall, if we just analyzing this roster, Canada seems to be going with it, run it back, kind of, you say, quote unquote, from the World Cup qualifiers and CONCACAF, right? You still see Jonathan David, Alphonso Davies, Osorio, some of the keepers, except for there is no, what's his name? No Bono, or no, I mean not Bono. There is, why am I drawing a blank? But there is no main keeper for him. It'll come to me. No, forget it. There is no keeper, right? We see other keepers that are in the mix, but Boyan, there he is. There's no Boyan in this one, but there are other players like Thomas Assault, a 15-year-old wonder kid keeper from Vancouver Whitecaps. You have, Dane St. Clair for Minnesota United, and even others too. Maxime Crepeau. They have some options as keepers, but for the majority, they do seem that they're going back to their A team. They're going to bring out their A team like they did for World Cup qualifiers again. And once again, they're kind of going to try to win for another major trophy, right? It's been a while since the Canadians have won a major trophy, and so this is what they're going to be pushing for, right? This Gold Cup, if they win this will mean everything to them. And then take the same squad to go in the World Cup qualifiers, right? So for Canada, this is win-win, right? They get to play with their experience or their squad, and also give them more experience and chemistry, right? Playing together, while also at the same time they get to get this ready. Unlike the United States, they get to use this one as a kind of a prep for the World Cup qualifiers. As I'll do another video for the United States, but for the most part, the United States already said they're using a B team kind of roster for the Gold Cup, just to give those European-based players a rest. There are some still European players, but this video is about Canada, so I'm going to make another separate video about the U.S. But for the most part, Canada is using their starting lineup. They're going to try and win this trophy. Really going to try and throw everything they can at it. And if they do, this will be a milestone, right? Kind of like what the U.S. did in Nations League with their European-placed players. But, Canada's going to try and follow suit, copy that. If they're successful, that's awesome. If not, well, the players had at least some experience playing together, right? And the U.S. and Canada are in the same group for the Gold Cup, so that would be interesting, a fun match, hopefully, to watch. And but yeah, for the most part, they are running it back with their World Cup qualifier squad, trying to win a major trophy for the first time in a couple of years, or maybe more than a couple. But just trying to win a major trophy. And but yeah, in terms of Ayo Akinola, it's going to be interesting to see if they do include him, or if they do include him in their finalized roster, will he accept the call-up, and will he play with? Meaning, if he plays, right, first game he plays in the Gold Cup means he's cap tied for Canada. Now, I think he would have to probably file a one-time switch. I don't know. He played a couple friendlies with the United States, but I know for sure if you play in competition, although he hasn't played in, or if you play in a certain amount of friendlies, then you're cap tied to that team. But I think he's still able to choose a nation. So, but as soon as he plays for Canada on the Gold Cup first game, he's cap tied for Canada, and that means Canada would have him. And I don't see the USA would try and steal him back, as the United States has lots of options. But that'll be a huge pickup for Canada if they can manage to steal Ayo Akinola. That would be just wonderful. I would enjoy seeing him play. He's the guy for Toronto FC is electric to watch. He's just awesome. He's all over the field. He scored a goal against Orlando City this past Saturday. He's just a wonder guy. He's just a wonder to watch on the field every time he steps on. And so, yeah, in terms of him, it's going to be interesting to see what he does and if he takes a decision. Now, next up, what I normally do in these roster videos is I give you guys my own starting 11, right? And there's also even players that I consider to be in the starting 11, including there might be two fighting for one position, and what I would do is I'll make a decision right here on the spot, deciding on who I'd rather see right then and there, right? And so that'll be interesting to watch, right? And so I say going to this, I choose a 4-3-3 lineup for Canada, and 4 in the back, 3 in the mid, 3 at top. But of course, once again, this is just my own for fun, right? This is not finalized. None of these players have made the final cut. This is just what I think would be pretty solid, right, for a Canadian chance at winning the Gold Cup. So in keeper, I have two possible players I would not mind seeing, but of course, in my starting 11, I have to choose one over the other right here on the spot. And so I have Dane St. Clair from Minnesota United and Maxime Crepeau from Vancouver. Ooh, both of them are pretty good. Dane St. Clair I kind of want to see more of after that Aruba match, right, in the World Cup qualifier. But Maxime Crepeau, after watching his MLS squad videos or MLS games for Vancouver, right, especially when it's against Sporting KC, I think they've kind of struggled this season. But rumor has it that they might choose him, right? But if you were to ask me to pick between Maxime Crepeau and Dane St. Clair, I would say, as I say, I want to see more of Dane St. Clair, right? He looked brilliant. He still looks brilliant for Minnesota United, right? I wouldn't mind seeing him give a chance, but even then, Maxime Crepeau is, I know he struggled this season so far, but I wouldn't mind him seeing a redemption, right? But for my starting, I would say Dane St. Clair. He's looked awesome so far for Minnesota United for the most part, and I would say he'll be a pretty good backstop as a keeper. And then we move to the defense where we have a must-have. Come on, left back position, Alphonso Davies. No questions about it, hands down. He's got to be in that lineup. After especially the performance at Bayern Munich and in the World Cup qualifier. No ands if buts about it. Davies has to be right there. He's in for me. That left back position is locked down for him. And then in terms of the defense in the list, Canada had Marc-Anthony Kaye playing a defensive role, but I don't know if they're trying to do it to kind of fool the opposition for them looking at this list. But I know, though, for LAFC, he plays more so a midfield or attacking role, right? So I have him or Frank Sturring for this position. And so if it is going to be Marc-Anthony Kaye playing this one, then let it be. If it is going to be Frank Sturridge, then I would say I'll see Frank Sturridge. And given the defense for Frank Sturridge, I would say I wouldn't mind seeing Frank Sturridge play this one. If Marc-Anthony Kaye is going to play in the mid, right? Then again, my formation is just a 4-3-3. They could play a 4-4-2, which then again, Marc-Anthony Kaye most likely will be included in the mid. But in my 4-3-3, I would have Frank Sturridge playing this position. And then we move to the next one, Stefan Victoria or Richie Larea. Once again, Stefan Victoria looked pretty great in the World Cup qualifiers. But Richie Larea for Toronto FC, I know the team has struggled so far this season, but he alone is pretty solid. And I would say for this spot, I would give me Stefan Victoria, given his performance off the World Cup qualifiers, right? And then in the right back position, I would want to see Henry, right? He was just like Davies, probably another lockdown right back. He was great in the World Cup qualifiers and just brilliant. And I wouldn't mind seeing him. That's probably another ands if buts or, hands down about it that I would like him seeing there. And then we go to the midfield where we have I played with three in the mid. I would say give me Leon Miller for this one. In the World Cup qualifiers, he was very electric. Very good at really abusing that right hand or left hand side, and I think it was more so left hand. But he was good at that, especially against Aruba. He was just all over them, in the first 20 minutes and really just broke them down. So definitely him for them. That's another definite position. In the midfield, give me Jonathan Osorio for the center mid. And that once again, that's another solid position. Guy plays at Toronto FC. He's looked okay, but I'll say, judging by what I saw of the World Cup qualifier, this guy looked pretty great. Of course, Marc-Anthony Kaye is also, if he plays midfield, he can take his spot in this one. So if not Osorio, then definitely Marc-Anthony Kaye. But for the 4-3-3, I'm going to say Osorio for this one. And then for the right wing position or right mid position, we're going to have Ativa Hutchinson. Once again, another lockdown guy. I think he's earned this spot. Really fell in my book. Really, he looked absolutely great in the World Cup qualifiers and just brilliant, just fun to watch in every way. And for the mid, that pretty much does it. Other than Jonathan Osorio, and once again, depending on how Canada plays Mark Anthony Kaye, um, that's pretty much for the most part. Everybody has some lockdown positions, right? Not really any conflicts or anything that I wouldn't mind seeing, right? Um, but then we go to the striker, right? Once again, another lockdown position in the left. On the same side as Alphonso Davies is, of course, Jonathan David. And once again, they have to be on the same side for me because that chemistry of what I saw in the World Cup qualifier was just brilliant and astonishing, right? You know, that Davies to David connection can be really lethal for teams that don't see it coming. So that's going to be really interesting and really just fun to watch as those two build up their chemistry over the next couple of years and even the next couple of months, get ready for World Cup qualifier in the Octagon. And so, next position I have is it's a kind of another two players for one position. So if Ayo Akinola commits, you know, he's a striker, I would not mind seeing him play this striker position, right? As it's either him or Buchanan for New England Revolution. You know, Buchanan has really been kind of on a tear for New England lately. But Akinola, he's also scored. You know, remember I said he scored against Orlando. You know, he hasn't looked too bad either. But if Ayo can, but once again, it depends on if Akinola commits. If he does, give me Akinola right there over Buchanan. But if not, then give me Buchanan up top. And then finally, the last position, got to have Kyle Larin, right? Kyle Larin is mainly my go-to, right? And if you're not, I guess one other person who could challenge him is Tesho Akindele for Orlando City. He scored I don't know, he's known for scoring these super fast goals. He scored a 30-second one against FC Cincy early on, and then now last Saturday he scored another one, 1 minute in against TFC. So if Tesho Akindele is going to keep up this rapid lightning scoring machine type of player or type of gameplay, I wouldn't mind seeing him make the cut. You know, but if it's just only in MLS rather than the national team, then give me Kyle Larin. But so for the most part, I'm gonna say I'll take Kyle Larin because, you know, we know what we're gonna get from Kyle Larin, right? You know, after watching Haiti and the rest of the World Cup qualifiers. So I'll say for the final striker position, if not Tesho Akindele, I'll take Kyle Larin over him and maybe Tesho Akindele off the bench. But those are my starting 11. So I have Davies, Frank Sturridge, Stephen Victoria, Henry, forgot to mention the keeper, Dane St. Clair from Minnesota United, Leon Miller in the midfield, Osorio, Hutchinson, David, Ayo Akinola if he commits, and Kyle Larin. Those are my top 11 for Canada in the starting 11. And so that basically does it for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of first type of video where I do roster reactions to the national teams. And if you like this video, like, share, subscribe. If you have something to say, make sure you comment down in the section. You know, if you want to kind of question the lineup a little bit that I had, feel free to do so. But once again, yeah, if you like this video, like, share, subscribe. Tell all your friends to get ready for the Gold Cup.